All right, everybody, thank you for joining. We're going to go ahead and get started. There are a few folks who are still hopping on, and so we are sticking around to help them get connected. While we're doing that, though, I'd love to make sure that everybody can hear me okay. So you'll notice over in your GoToMeeting control panel that you have a question box. I'd love if you would just let me know in there that you can hear me. Perfect. All right. And I'd also love to hear where people are calling in from. So if you would, just real quick, let me know what city and state you are attending today from. Thanks a lot, Stephen and Ed. Loud and clear, it says. I can hear you. All right. All the way from Ignacio, Colorado. Thanks a lot, Dan, for joining. Thanks, Stephen, from Imperial County, California. Looks like we have Rachel from New York. We have Danny from Florida. We have looks like we have Jason from Washington. We have a couple folks calling up from Texas. This is great. Utah, Roy City. Hey, thanks a lot, Ed. Route County, Colorado. Thanks a lot, Ted. All right. Well, guys, we're going to go ahead and dive in today. There are a few folks that will be joining throughout, and that's okay. We are hoping that today we will have a recording of our session, and we'll make that available to all of you and to any folks who aren't able to make it live today. So if you find value today, we'll give you a way to be able to invite others to see the recorded version of today's webinar. So today's training is called the 4 Steps Toward Faster Building Plan Reviews. And it's put on by SAFEbuilt, and here at SAFEbuilt we are one of the largest national private providers of community development services, third-party community development services, primarily focused on building departments, planning and zoning, code enforcement, as well as permitting software. And so we appreciate you guys joining us today. We are focused today on giving you good value, good solutions, good expertise that you can apply in your own building plan process. We're going to talk a little bit today from time to time about some services that we offer, but today's presentation is not a sales pitch. It's designed to help you guys improve your process. If there are any questions you have about specific services we offer, we're happy to have those conversations, and we'll give you a way at the end to connect with the right people to talk about those. But our focus today is to help you move toward building a faster building plan review processes. So we're going to go ahead and dive in today, and just to make sure you're in the right place, you are in the right place if you're maybe a city manager or community development director who's facing pressure to be developer friendly. That's a word that gets thrown around a lot today. Maybe you're a building official and you're frustrated by old processes that handcuff you to long permit application timelines. We're going to talk about that. Russ is going to share, our presenter today, Russ is going to share a lot about his experience in this area. Or maybe you're a building department inspector or a plans examiner, permit tech, and you just want to bring fresh ideas to your team. And so you're in the right place with if any of those things are true, because today we have, as a presenter, we have Russ Weber. He's the Colorado Operations Manager for SAFEbuilt. And I'm going to turn it over to Russ to give us a little bit of background on why we should listen to him and where he came from and why he's passionate about this idea of faster plan review turnarounds. So Russ, are you with us?
Yes, well, thank you everybody for joining our webinar today. My name is Russ Weber. I've been with SAFEbuilt now for just over 20 years. I've been in the construction business since 1975, so pretty much all my life. I started as a field inspector. I moved into a plans examiner, both residential and commercial, and I was a building official for years. I was also a member of many development review committees for some of our jurisdictions. And really through the years I found that being and giving out the information at a development review meeting, it's really critical for helping the permit process, the contractors, developers to get their project through, because that is the one key. at the development review meetings where you can give all your information to help the applicant streamline the process. And that's kind of some of the things that we're going to talk about today.
Thanks a lot, Russ. I've had the privilege of working with Russ for a couple of years now, and being in the room when he shares his experience, shares his knowledge, and I think that we're in for a treat today. Appreciate you, Russ, joining us today and walking us through this. I know you have a lot of good stuff today, so we're going to dive into that in just a minute. Specifically, here are the things that Russ is going to talk about today and share with us from his experience. First of all, how to implement concurrent plan reviews. And Russ will talk about the challenges that are inherent in that, why it's necessary, and a couple ideas on how to do that well. We're also going to look at how to establish goals and measure performance. If it's not measured, then you can't manage it. And so Russ is going to talk about exactly what to measure and how to measure that, and what to do with that information. Number 3, he's going to look at how to maximize transparency on your team. This is internal and external. He's going to talk a lot about external transparency. And then finally, we're going to talk about how to prevent staffing hurdles. And he has some good strategies for that as well. I want to make sure you stay right to the end because we have a couple of things that are really special at the end of today's training that I want to make sure you get to take part in. First of all, we're going to have Q&A with Russ. And so over there in that question box where you entered where you were from, you can just enter questions in there as we go along today, and that way you don't have to remember them until the end. You can just enter them as they come up, and I'll be monitoring that in the background while Russ is presenting and trying to organize those and make sure that we have a nice, smooth Q&A session at the end of today. So just go ahead and drop them in there at any time. I'll remind you a couple of times throughout today to drop them in over there. And then at the end, of course, we'll have another call for questions. I do know that in the past when we presented similar topics to this, the questions are overwhelming sometimes. There are so many of them. And so please get your questions in early so we can make sure we get them to the top of the list. I will tell you that if for some reason we can't answer all the questions today, and that does happen sometimes on these online trainings, that we do want to make sure you get an answer to your question. And so I'll give you a way at the end as well. If you want to ask a more detailed question or dive in a little bit deeper on your specific community's challenges, there's a way at the end that you can ask that question, get connected with somebody who is an expert and who is probably local to you, maybe more local than Russ if you're outside of Colorado, and who can help you work through that and answer your questions for you specifically. So drop your questions over there in the right-hand side. Or wherever your go-to webinar panel is, where that question box is, and we'll get them answered at the end of today. We also want to give you an exclusive toolkit. It's going to have a few things. One is going to have a copy of these slides, which are sometimes useful when you want to be able to reference some of these things that Russ will be talking about, some of these processes and some of the metrics and some of those things. We're also going to give you an actual recording of this webinar. Now, this usually works sometimes. As we all know, technology is great. Sometimes the recording doesn't work, which is why it's important to be here live, and we appreciate all of you for doing that. But we do intend to make this recording available for all of you to watch again, or actually to invite others who couldn't participate today who maybe do want to learn some of this information. So we'll give you a way to do that. We also want to give you options, like I said, for getting answers about your specific community and your specific challenges. And so we'll give you a way at the end to actually do that. So now we're done with the boring stuff. We're going to turn it over to Russ to actually dive into the core content of today's topic of the 4 steps to faster building plan reviews. So Russ, I'm going to turn it right over to you, sir.
All righty. Thanks, Aaron. I appreciate it. Yeah, building plan review backlogs. It's a problem for many municipalities. When building permit applications come streaming in due to construction booms, big projects, code changes, and other factors, the mounds of work can be too much for a municipal staff to tackle. And to add to that mess, unclear submittal requirements, misunderstandings between understaffed building departments, and permit applicants can lengthen the process. As the applications pile up, departments get buried under the pressure that accompany inevitable plan review delays. Building plan review backlogs are frustrating to say the least, but they can also cause a number of serious pains and problems for a lot of different parties and people, such as planners, city engineers, public work departments. Whether you're a community development leader, city administrator, or building official, you know that backlogs result in a whole mass of issues for municipalities and building departments. Elected officials start to get calls. You start to hear, stay out of that municipality. It takes forever to get a permit. If it gets too backed up, people think twice about getting permits. When revenue producing projects get delayed, so does the revenue. Fill in lots, they take longer to complement the neighborhood. Large big box and retail projects move to another municipality, and so does the revenue. When prominent national companies come looking for a site, the plan review process is a major area of concern when they make their decision. So when budget numbers are down for the sole reason that permits can't be issued fast enough, tensions rise and the work environment can get unpleasant. So when budget numbers are down, staffing levels can suffer. You probably also realize that the backlog burden extends beyond the municipality and building department. The developers and residents trying to get projects done can often suffer from the drawn out permitting process that happens when you're dealing with building plan review backlogs. Developers and contractors start pressuring the elected officials and managers for alternatives or even third-party help. As I mentioned a minute ago, sometimes these projects uproot and they move to a neighboring community. And the issues don't end there. At best, building plan review backlogs can cause a few minor holdups in local construction projects or bring several frustrated calls your way. But at worst, communities can start to experience major fallout from inefficient permitting, work performed without or fewer investments in the local economy, unsightliness and blight, lower property values, slowed or halted development and growth. Additional phone calls and meetings are generated. When housing inventory is needed, and we all need it, a slow permitting process plays a huge impact on the market. It's true that some municipalities might be so overwhelmed by backlogs that they can't see a light at the end of the tunnel. But whether you need to emerge from a seemingly inescapable pile of permit applications or simply make life easier for your staff, your customers, and yourself, guaranteeing faster plan reviews is certainly a large piece of the puzzle. Fortunately, the 5-day building plan review turnaround isn't the stuff of legend. It can be a reality for municipalities like yours. Over the past 25 years, SAFEbuilt has partners with communities of all shapes and sizes across the country, helping them guarantee fast plan review turnarounds that put an end to those dreaded backlogs. In our experience, faster plan review turnaround times, and yes, we dare say 5-day residential turnarounds and 10-day commercial turnarounds, they're actually attainable. We've narrowed down some of the tricks of the trade, if you will, to 4 basic strategies that communities like yours can implement to experience the benefits that come from faster plan review processes, including increased revenues and less strife for your municipality, better and faster service for your customers, and more chances for your community to improve and thrive. Running permit applications concurrently with other departments streamlines the process, and once fire, parks and rec, planning and engineering, just to mention a few, are complete with their review, the building permit can be ready to issue. So we also have implemented a program called Rapid Review Day. What that is it streamlines some smaller projects. We have a plans examiner sit at the front counter on one given day of the week, and they process small projects like decks and basement finishes and gazebos, and they can accept the application, do the plan review, talk to the applicant, and get the permit issued in less than an hour. So those are just some of the things that we can implement. All departments must be held to a measurable standard, though, meaning complete and concise review comments, establish a first submittal turnaround time, and hold every department accountable. Maintaining transparency allows the applicants to see where their project is in the process and what is required to get it through. Permitting software systems can help, and we'll talk a little bit about that. Evaluate your processes, though, and determine where the main hurdles are that are causing the problem. Is it a process or is it personnel? We're going to walk you through what each of these steps look like in practice, but first it's important to know that every community is unique. It's not a one-size-fits-all, which is why these strategies are fluid and flexible and can be tailored for your specific needs. SAFEbuilt works with our 500-plus partner communities to apply these steps in the way and at the pace that works best for them. That brings me to my next point, which is that there are people like those of us at SAFEbuilt who can help you through these steps. While there are certainly ways for you to implement these proven actions on your own, having the support of a professional firm like SAFEbuilt can help jumpstart your success and let you see more immediate results. So first we'll talk about concurrent plan reviews. Before we dive in, let me say that there are a number of ways for your municipality or department to streamline plan reviews and make your processes more efficient. In fact, our on-demand webinar about how to deliver 5-day building plan review turnarounds goes into details on the logistics behind a smoother, more expedient plan review process. But today, as I mentioned, our focus is on concurrent plan reviews and how they can help really get you through those mounds of permit applications quickly. Concurrent plan reviews offer a much better plan for plan reviews. Simply put, concurrent reviews mean faster reviews for your municipality. Why? When the applicant can address comments from engineering, public works, fire, parks and rec, planning, building, a one-time list can be generated. That's exactly what the applicant wants. With concurrent plan reviews, you can evaluate all aspects of a project in parallel. As you can imagine, this is a game changer because it takes many of the typical holdups out of plan reviews. Typically, multiple examiners of different specialties have to take turns reviewing the various elements of a permit: mechanical, electrical, plumbing, architectural, etc. There can often be transport lag in the process as well, as plans must be shipped between multiple examiners. Concurrent plan reviews also allow for more collaboration and less confusion among reviewers, other department staff, and the permit applicant. Inside each discipline, find ways to divide tasks up to a multiple reviewer. An example, engineering may need to look at site grading, elevations, soils reports, water table elevations. Dedicate those areas to more than one engineer. So how do you go about implementing concurrent plan reviews? There are a couple of options. The first is to find experienced, versatile plans examiners who are capable of reviewing various elements of a project. This eliminates the pain of having to pass permit applications around to multiple examiners. However, even the most experienced plans examiners might need the input of experts in certain fields and areas. The second option is one that we've seen work very well, and that's electronic plan review, or EPR for short. EPR lets multiple plans examiners evaluate the various aspects of a project at the same time, including standard building code and components, engineering standards, and zoning. The transport lag I mentioned earlier also becomes a non-issue, since all reviewers can view plans electronically from somewhere at any time. And when it comes to collaboration, the parallel approach provided by EPR allows examiners to collaborate in real time, helping build consensus and expedite requests. So to summarize, municipalities no longer have to package and ship multiple sets of plans or make applicants wait while various reviewers take turns reviewing them. Instead, building departments can speed up the permitting process, giving reviewers immediate, simultaneous access to plans and ensuring the efficient delivery of all comments. We've come to step 2. Once your departments have evaluated, determine what goals can be implemented to improve the process. We all know the importance of setting goals for your department, municipality, and community. Without a vision for where you want to go, you just can't get there. By establishing goals early and often, and then using tools to measure your performance, you can stay ahead of development as big projects come in and construction ebbs and flows, while also exceeding the expectations of developers and residents within your community. It might go without saying that in order to set attainable goals for your municipality to meet, you must first evaluate your internal capabilities and the resources you have on hand, including staff, funding. This will help you set goals that are realistic for your department. But don't shy away from also setting some aspirational goals, ones that will push your municipality to continually get better. If you're worried about setting goals that you might not be able to achieve, our next tip might help. In our experience, SAFEbuilt, we've seen tremendous value in leveraging today's technology to track and measure performance. There are a wide range of technologies and project management type solutions out there for you to choose from. At SAFEbuilt, we use our internally developed software suite. It's called Meritage Systems. Meritage provides community core solutions, a user-friendly permitting and inspection software application. This advanced community development technology ensures the ultimate efficiency of your projects with several web and mobile applications. Using software products like Meritage enables you to get important insight into every stage of your permitting process, so you can better see where you're meeting goals and where you might be falling short. That leads into the next piece of advice that I have, which is to continue setting new goals to continually improve. By having a technology tool that allows you to see where you could be better, you can be intentionally and proactive about your goals moving forward. Let's talk about the third step towards faster plan reviews, maintaining transparency in your department. When applicants can see their project and track the progress through the permitting process, they can stay ahead of any possible issues that may arise. Communication, it truly is the key. Now, I realize that doesn't sound like it's quite connected to faster plan reviews, and it can mean a lot of things. One of those things being internal transparency and communication among staff and leaders. It's true that communicating internally is an absolute must, and we've dedicated a lot of discussion to that in another one of our webinars, Say Goodbye to Building Plan Review Backlogs. But transparency in your department that leads to higher efficiencies goes beyond the four walls of your building. It's critical that municipalities not underestimate the importance of strong external communication, which leads to trust and transparency with members of your community, and in turn allows your department to function and perform at its best. From what we've seen among our partnered municipalities, thriving communities are ones that openly communicate the decisions and actions of the municipality, as well as gather and implement input from the public. Work with your local HBA. Most builders want to work with departments if the process can be streamlined. So let's get into how you can make the transparency or good level of external communication happen so that you experience the trickle-down effect to your efficiency. First, be sure to provide community members, developers, architects, homeowners alike clear guidance throughout every step of the permit process. They should know exactly what is expected of them when submitting a permit application. Again, this can be done at the Development Review Committee. By providing understandable, concise submittal forms, checklists, and other resources, you can ensure permit applicants know what they're dealing and feel satisfied with the overall process. Plus, your department will benefit from fewer problems with projects that require resubmittals, and your call volume and walk-in traffic will also be lower, giving you the time and flexibility to handle the permit applications coming in. Front counter expertise is critical in heading off potential problems from the start. Sometimes something as simple as an incomplete application stops the process in its tracks. Yet another way to build transparency, encourage the trust of the public and help expedite your plan reviews is by becoming more involved in the local community with community outreach and education initiatives. SAFEbuilt has had much success with homeowner workshops and awareness initiatives that educate community members on proper building and permitting requirements. Again, when your customers know what's expected of them, your department doesn't have to spend more time on corrections and resubmittals. Having literature and other resources accessible to community members that inform the permitting process, both in print and online, is also an effective and simple form of reaching out to your community. Last, but definitely not least, let's talk about hurdles within your workforce. The staffing struggle, it is real. There's unexpected turnover, short and long-term illnesses, maternity leaves, vacations, and then we've got retirement. It's an actual fact that 65% of the workforce in building departments, they will retire in the next 15 years. So all building departments are going to have a challenge with that. Yet for municipalities and building departments, the difficulties are made more pronounced by economic ups and downs, construction booms, big projects, roller coaster workloads. They always go up and down. Low interest rates can accelerate construction activity, but overstaffing can lead to layoffs when the economy slows. But good experience help is hard to let go. So how can you prevent the inevitable hurdles you're faced with your workforce, either being understaffed and overwhelmed during busy times, or overstaffed and overspending during development lulls? Maintaining access to qualified, on-demand professionals can be invaluable for municipalities who want to back up or supplement their permanent staff without adding to the headcount of their department, deliver excellent service, and stay up to speed no matter how busy the season or how big the project. With firsthand experience helping communities large and small, SAFEbuilt has some inside knowledge on the benefits behind third-party plan review. Staffing experts in all disciplines allow plans to be reviewed for architectural, plumbing, mechanical, electrical, energy compliance, green codes, all by people experienced in specific trades, and they can be reviewed at the same time. Moving and transporting plans electronically avoids additional delays that can cut into the turnaround time. If an expert is located in another location, no problem. The plans can be sent electronically with ease. Having a checklist of codes, amendments, and design criteria such as snow loads, wind loads for your specific region, that allows that can follow the plans based on the client's ordinances, allow for an accurate and complete review. Questions or concerns with these submittals can be sent to peers for expert advice with no delays in the review process. You always have access to an expert based on the technicality of the project, whether it's a wastewater treatment plant to a large automotive processing plant. We have the personnel. Approval plans can be generated, or approval stamps can be generated or specific to your jurisdiction. Revisions can be received and reviewed quickly. So in conclusion, slow permitting processes and building plan review backlogs are more than mere frustrations for municipalities. They can impact the development process, increase or reduce revenues, can cause loss of revenues due to withdrawal of the applicant. They cost the community opportunities. When developments slow or sometimes halt, no one benefits. Revenues are delayed or even lost. An inefficient process allows no time to improve when all you're doing is playing catch up. Using these 4 proven strategies we've observed in communities across the nation, you can speed up your building plan review process. So we're looking at concurrent plan reviews, establish goals and measured performances, maintain transparency, avoid hurdles. It eases tension, makes for an enjoyable work environment, Developments are active and visual and generate a good revenue flow. But stay on track. Review your turnaround times frequently and make adjustments quickly. Maintaining a good turnaround time makes for happy applicants, and we all like that. Encourage valuable development. Working together, you can develop a process that works and promotes development in a healthy way. When revenue is flowing, management and elected officials are happy. Staffing levels can be maintained, and things can be looking up. So concurrent plan reviews, again, DRC committees, pre-submittal meetings, communication between disciplines, and a permitting software system. I mean, those are all ways of tracking number of applications, time of review to first comments, number of reviews per inspector, workflows that show where the problem is, but track those common issues that are causing the slowdown and evaluate how to adapt. Transparency for trust and confidence. To have complete transparency, a permitting software system accessible to the applicant could be the answer. Maybe an online system where they can log in and they can track their application through the process. Having a workforce in layers is critical to a fortified workforce. This allows someone to step in and up to the plate when needed.
Well, thanks a lot, Russ. This has been fantastic, and I can tell by the questions coming in that people are really getting this, and they have a lot of really great questions. And so we're going to dive into those questions here in just a minute. I want to give everybody a chance to finish asking your questions, though. So again, you'll see over in your GoToWebinar panel, you'll see a question box. It's the same place where you told us where you're calling in from. Just drop your questions in there, and I've been organizing those, and I have several here already for Russ, and we'll get to as many as we can. But go ahead and drop those in there, and we'll start sharing those with Russ. So a couple of things, though. I want you to remember that this isn't just a theory. What Russ has been talking about today are practical steps that come directly from our experience with 400+ communities. And you know, Russ has seen it all, and he has helped develop the processes that we've implemented across the country. And so he has his fingerprints really on all of the communities that we serve, just because he's helped develop those processes from the ground up from over the past 20 years. And so I'm not sure why you're here today. You know, like we talked about earlier, maybe you're facing pressure to be developer friendly. As Russ talked about, developers will go next door. That's part of the danger of living especially in areas where there are a lot of close municipalities. They can just go down the street a little ways and develop there. And so it's important to be developer friendly to attract the right kind of development, however your community defines that. Maybe you're frustrated by old processes. You know, this is a profession that's done things a certain way for a long time. And it's starting to you're starting to see stresses that are coming from that, from a financial standpoint, from a process standpoint. The expectations of our customers have changed. The residents are expecting different things because we live in the world of Amazon and Google and Netflix and DVRs. They want things on demand. They want things quick, and so they get frustrated, and the pressure that they put on elected officials and city leaders trickles down, and you're probably feeling that pressure as well. Or maybe you just want to bring fresh ideas to your team. So in any case, I hope you get this one thing that Russ is saying here, and that's that there is a proven system for implementing faster permits in your community. So, you know, Russ has talked about the 4 key steps, but obviously there's a lot of nuance that goes into that. We couldn't possibly cover it all on a single webinar. That's why we do so many of these online trainings. And Russ mentioned 2 other webinars we have. Those are both available on our website. Go to SAFEbuilt.com. You'll see a Learn section. Just click on that button. It'll take you right over to the webinars. You can watch the old recorded versions from the last couple of months, where we go into more detail on some of the pieces that Russ talked about today. But the obvious question is, you know, how do you get this done? How do you implement this faster permit process? Well, essentially there are 2 options, and we've talked about this before. The first option is do it slow. Take what Russ talked about today, watch those other 2 webinars, take the information that's on our site, from other really good thought leaders out there, and start implementing it. Go through some trial and error and slowly start shifting your process. The other option is to do it quickly, and for some communities this is the only option. They have to get something done quickly, and the best way to do that is let our experts walk you through the next step. Whether you decide to work with us or not, it doesn't matter. We just want to talk with you, learn your situation, give you a few pointers, point you in the right direction. If we have an opportunity to work together, that'd be great. I do want to share one thing, and Russ talked about this a little bit earlier. One solution that is working really well for more and more communities across the country, and that's doing third-party remote plan reviews. And we do this a couple of ways, but there are lots of benefits to third-party plan reviews that are done remotely. First of all, is a reduced budget risk. You only use what you need. There's no more hiring and firing. You know, you have your core team of plans examiners, but sometimes you're going to have an influx of a lot of permit applications, and you need a lot of reviews done quickly. And but you don't want to hire for those peaks because it's going to blow your budget. So being able to use only the services that you need when you need them reduces your budget risk. It also gives you uncommon customer service. Like we talked about, in the age of Amazon and Google and Netflix, applicants expect online and immediate service. We give you a turnkey solution to be able to implement that, you know, online submittals, you know, electronic plan review, and some other good customer service options very, very quickly. It also allows you to handle complex projects easily. We have national experts. We've seen a little bit of everything. We've seen everything from dog food plants to auto complexes to high rises to other specialized facilities and industrial facilities. And if we use electronic plan reviews, we go a step further. It's going to save applicants money. Oftentimes, applicants are spending over $1,000 per application just on printing costs to be able to hand those documents over to you and your team. We're able to save that money for the applicants, which of course makes happy applicants. And like Russ said, happy applicants means happy building departments, and happy building departments mean everybody else is happy, right? So municipalities save money as well, though. Moving plans, storing plans, the fixed employee costs associated with those, as Russ talked about, you get rid of those transport lags and the costs associated with all that by moving to this. By implementing electronic plan reviews. Now, this isn't necessarily a great fit for every community. We won't know for sure until we have a conversation, but generally we find that municipalities without enough plan review work for their one examiner probably aren't in dire need for a program like this, a solution like this. If this is you and you're just looking for ways to improve your process a little bit, give us a call. We'll give you a few pointers, and we'll shake hands and part as friends. We want to help you out still. Or maybe you're a municipality, you just only have simple and straightforward development. You don't have anything complex coming along. You don't have big ebbs and flows. It's just pretty static and standard. Again, this may not be the best solution. We'd love to give you a few pointers if there's anything that we can share with you and just part as friends. However, this is a great fit if you fall into a few categories. One, if you're a municipality and you've started implementing process efficiencies, right? You already recognize that things are not going quite the way that you want them to. You want your processes to be a little bit better, and you want to expedite that process, that journey of implementing these best-in-class processes. Then this is the way to do it. This is one way to sort of take a shortcut to that place. If you're paying overtime for plan review, that's a good sign that maybe you should look at other solutions to make sure that you aren't wearing your internal team down and risking not only the financial impact but also the morale impact that sometimes has. If you're a municipality and you're receiving complaints about plan review turnarounds, that's a good sign again that bringing in extra help that is flexible and on demand to help you meet the flexible demands on your time from your community might be something to look at. If you value best practices, as we talked about, this is a way to shortcut that process. Or if you have complex and varied development, so you have some unusual projects, maybe some large facilities, unusual conditions, etc. We work with communities. We just finished a project with one community where they were building a new college football stadium, and they brought us in just for that project. And so things like that make a lot of sense, where you need help with the special project, You don't want to burden your internal team and delay everything else. You don't want your internal team to have to go and learn the complexities of these these specialized facilities. You just want an easy button, a shortcut to get that done quickly, and this is a good fit for that. There are a couple of ways that we service communities with our third-party remote plan reviews. One is electronic plan submission. We have a process in place to allow you to do that. We also have paper plans, and so we use a courier service to ship paper plans back and forth. We have several communities we do this with. It just depends on what your exact needs are. There is no cookie cutter approach. We have some best practices that we bring to the table, but we customize our approach to each community. This is a national service, so we can work with communities just about in any state across the country. It's a customized process for your municipality, and we give you easy online submission if that's what you're looking for, or easy paper submission if that's what you're looking for. So I don't want to go into too much more of a pitch than that. If you're ready to see if third-party plan review is a good fit for your community or not, go check out safebuilt.com/plan review, and we'll give you all the information you need there. There's a place you can request some more information. And actually, if you have additional questions as well, go to the same place, safebuilt.com/plan review. There's a little button at the bottom that says contact us. That's where you can give us your contact information. Let us know what your question is. We'll connect you with the right person to answer that question for you. So, but let's dive into the questions that we have already. So let me just pull this up real quick. Russ, are you still with us? And we'll dive into some of these questions.
You betcha.
All right. So we have. I'm going to paraphrase and combine some of these questions. And so if I don't ask your question exactly right, feel free to shoot in another one and let me know that that I need to clarify that. But a lot of the questions were around what kind of forms. So you talked about having application checklists and other forms at the front of the process to make the whole process go smoother. Can you talk about what kinds of forms you use, Russ, that you've seen are critical in this process?
You bet. So a lot of the things that we've seen that have held up plan reviews are an incorrect code analysis, the wrong adopted codes, maybe they don't include amendments from the local municipality. So we've put together checklists that say, hey, if you're in this municipality, here's the adopted codes, here's what's required for a submittal. It'll talk about energy code compliance, what needs to be engineered, an exiting plan, but it kind of details 95% of what are the things that we see lacking in the submittal. So that checklist is really important, and we've got a lot of good feedback from it. Obviously, every municipality is unique, so we try to tailor that to meet their specific needs.
All right, very good. And then, see here, there are a couple of questions around, a lot of questions around staffing issues, specifically around recruitment, which is definitely something that we see across the industry. And so I think a lot of the questions will be answered by phrasing it this way. How is SAFEbuilt planning for retirements, or how are communities out there planning for retirements? Is what's SAFEbuilt doing to help make sure we have all of the code officials that we need when we need them?
That is a great question. And what SAFEbuilt has done is we're in about 2 years of it, is we've implemented what's called STP. It's a SAFEbuilt training program. And what we've done is we've interviewed younger people, and they range from anywhere from 20-year-old to 35-year-olds, and they don't have to have any construction experience. We're just looking and targeting personalities. And what we do is we put them through a 12-month training program, depending on which direction they want to go. But we have classroom, we have on-site visits, and then we evaluate them. So after a 12-month period, we've groomed these, because basically what we've decided is that everybody knows that plans examiners, inspectors, whatever it may be, code enforcement officers, when the economy is really busy, they're busy in the field and they don't want to come to this side. So we have basically made the the move to grow our own. So we've implemented a training program where we can take an individual and in a 12-month period, not to say that they're ready to hit the ground running, but they have some really good on-site experience of what being either an inspector or a plans examiner looks like. And we've had some good success.
Yeah, it's been a fantastic program, I know, across the company, and a lot of really great results have come from that. And that helps us meet our internal requirements. We also have some interesting programs coming in the very near future that take some of that same model and allow communities to do the same thing, around training and helping keep their staff trained up and things like that. So we'll have some announcements coming around that sometime later this summer, probably, because it has been such a successful program for us. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah. Yes, and that is true, Aaron. Thanks for reminding me. We are in the process of, this is an internal program, but we are really close to offering it to external employees, to where basically it's going to be called SAFEbuilt Academy.
Perfect. Yeah, I'm excited for that. So there's a question. I'm going to skip down a few questions because it's sort of relevant to this. There's a question about specifically how do you train permit techs, and Russ, I think this came in when you were talking about the importance of having front counter expertise, how important it is to have somebody at the front counter who really knows what they're doing. And the question here is, how do you train those folks, your permit techs or other clerks and things that are at that front desk?
Yep, a great question again. When we hire an individual for front counter support, we train them in all the methods, our permitting software system, but also at SAFEbuilt, we push them and train them to be either a residential building inspector or a residential plans examiner, and we help them get certified through ICC. What that does is that alleviates a lot of questions, whether it's at the front counter or over the phone, because they can answer those questions. But, for a permit tech to truly understand what that permit application really means, they need to understand all aspects of what we do. So to better them, we really get them certified in deeper than they really should be, but it really helps them do their job at the front counter better.
Gotcha. That's good. There are a couple of questions here about, I'm going to combine them here. One is, what is required to send plans to SAFEbuilt? I'm assuming the question here is, so we talked about these third-party plan reviews. What does the city have to do to be able to start sending plans to SAFEbuilt to review? And then the other question is very similar to that, but how much lead time does SAFEbuilt need to be able to start taking plans from a community? So we could probably answer those together.
Sure. I would start with our business development team. So they're the ones who draw up the contract of, what fees are collected by plan review based on your jurisdiction. But we're also have a checklist with the submittals, because we want to know, we tailor our plan reviews to meet your needs. So if you like your plans redlined, some people don't. We have a checklist of exactly how each municipality wants to see their plan reviews done. This also includes, obviously, their adopted codes, their design criteria, their amendments, but it's a complete checklist that the municipality fills out prior to the plan review, and maybe even a phone call to one of our lead plans examiners, just to get a good feel for how you want it. We know that everybody does them differently, so we want it to be seamless. So when you get a plan back, we really want it to look like it came from you guys. So to start, though, it would start with our business development team.
Okay. And how long does that process take, would you say, Russ? I mean, if somebody was committed and they wanted to move forward, they said that, we know we have a lot of plans that will need reviewed here in about a month. I mean, is that enough lead time to get rolling, or what do you need?
Yeah, absolutely. I think once you contact them, they'll set up a time for you to discuss it with our plan review manager. And I think the whole process we can get going in less than a week.
Wow. Okay. Perfect. Okay. Yeah. So it is quick, very, very quick.
Yeah.
Dan asked a question here. He said, can you give some recommendations for permitting software?
Well, obviously, I'm going to recommend Meritage. That is owned by SAFEbuilt, and it really is. It's a great program. We also sell it to municipalities as well, but it's a great program because any department can log in. It's a web-based program, so whether it's Park and Rec, whether it's the fire district, whether it's planning, they can log in and see where that permit is in the process. We also have what's called Contractor Connect, which links with Meritage as well, and it's an app for a phone or iPad. But a contractor can log in. He'll get a login when he submits a permit application, and they can see every permit that they have and where it is in the process. And I got to tell you, what that does is it slows the phone calls. It slows the wondering why their permit is held up, because if it is on hold, they can see why. Maybe it's lacking energy compliance, or maybe it's lacking an engineered foundation plan. But obviously, we're going to recommend that program. There's a lot of them out there. A lot of our municipalities use Excella, which we used to use many years ago. Yeah, there's a lot of them out there. So I don't really know that I would recommend one in particular.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, like you mentioned, we do work with several. Meritage, the reason we like it, we built it internally just for our own purposes. It was built by building officials, it was built by inspectors, and we realized that it worked so well that communities started asking if they could have it too. And so it really was built with that in mind. And actually, there's not to be a total homer here and and turns into a pitch fest, but there is a new version, an updated version, completely rewritten, highly secure and fast, and everything coming from Meritage later this year as well. So, like Russ said, that's what we use wherever we can. It makes us more efficient everywhere we can use it. Sometimes it doesn't make sense for other reasons on the client community side, and so we work with other tools as well. But we use that because it just helps us be more efficient and give better service.
And really what it does too, Aaron, is that, you can upload electronic plans to a permit application, so those can be seen by the field inspector. They can pull them up in the field. But another great feature of Meritage is that because we understand that some inspectors have some hieroglyphics when they write their correction tickets, every time something is resulted live in the field, the contractor gets an email of those. Either it passed or failed. If it fails, they get a copy of the corrections via email. So within minutes, they can get on the phone and call that contractor once it pops up and say, hey, get over there and fix this or do that or whatever it may be. But it's really streamlined not only the plan review process, but the inspection process.
Yeah, that's a good point. And that's actually where I've seen it more is in the field on the inspection side. It's super clean and great. But we don't need to bore people with any more of a pitch for that. But it is a great solution. There's another question here for related to software that we don't sell. So this will get a little bit more honest broker answers from us. But the question is, do you guys have to use a specific EPR solution, electronic plan review solution? Or will you work with any solution that's out there?
That's a great question. We are in the process of picking electronic plan review software right now. I think we've really researched 3 of them, and we're narrowing it down to another one. But I don't really have the answer to that one yet. But a lot of the times, Bluebeam is a big. A lot of municipalities are using Bluebeam to do their plan reviews, but we would work with anybody, whatever program they're using. If we can access it, we'll try to keep it as simple as possible.
Yeah, this goes back to every community is unique. There's no cookie cutter approach for every community. We want to work with you to make sure that we're following your processes. And like Russ said, we're evaluating tools to use as a baseline and as a recommendation. We want to find the best tool that's out there, but we'll work with whatever your community uses, because we want to. Again, we don't want we don't want you to have to fit into our way of working. We want to fit into your way of working, but we also want to be able to bring a good recommendation and a good solution to you whenever possible.
Exactly.
There's a question here. How does the fast permit days work? So I think this is the rapid permit day. Is that what it's called, Russ?
Yeah, so what we do is we pick a day. Most of our municipalities will do like a rapid review Thursday, and we'll give a time from 8 to noon that somebody can bring a plan to the front counter, bring their permit application and their 2 sets of plans, and we'll review those plans right at the front counter with them. So it's been a great marketing tool, because this way people that are just building a deck, or maybe they're doing a small covered porch, or some small project, they can get their permit issued within an hour. So it's been very, very successful.
That's great. And you've done it in some of these northern Colorado communities for a long time, but we're even rolling this out in some of the large communities that we've started serving the last couple of years, right?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. I believe it's getting very popular in Georgia as well.
Yeah, I think you're right. There's a question here about concurrent reviews. There are a couple of sort of related questions. I think I can combine them here. Essentially saying, do you need to change ordinances to be able to allow for concurrent reviews or electronic reviews, or anything where you don't have one piece of paper with multiple people's marks directly on that one sheet, if that makes sense?
No modifications. This is just a process. So there's no modifications to any ordinance or any of that nature. It's just a process. And normally what happens, I've seen it through the years, is that being on a development review committee, we evaluate ourselves and we say, hey, where did this one get held up, and where did this one get held up, and what can we do to modify that procedure? So basically, we invite the applicant into one room where all disciplines are there. So we have planning, parks and rec, we have the fire district, the building department, engineering, and they can all sit there and really see what the project is and talk about any red flags, so that before the submittal happens, I'm not going to say all of them, but 95% of the issues have been at least talked about, if not addressed.
Okay. That's great. So just as a follow-up to that, do we run into communities ever that are resistant to changing their processes for some reason, or that are sort of under the impression that they can't change their process, or that's sort of sacred and they can't touch that?
I've seen it through the years. Not so much a municipality doesn't want to change their process, but a division of the municipality, meaning it could be Park and Rec or Public Works. They could say, no, we've done it this way forever. So sometimes you really got to get some of those disciplines on board with change, because a lot of people don't like it.
Yeah, makes sense. Here's a question here about metrics. I'm going to paraphrase it a little bit, Ashley, so if I don't get it right, let me know. But basically, it's what metrics do city leaders care about the most? So when you're measuring your performance, what are the numbers that are going to impress city leaders the most, or that will give city leaders the best? I'm guessing this is community development directors, city managers, other departments, that give them the best idea of what's going on in the building department, and then also the improvements that are being made.
Sure. Two of the bigger questions that always come up are tracking your turnaround times, because we hear municipalities and we hear builders and contractors say, oh my gosh, they're at 6-week turnaround time. So turnaround times are what most of the city managers hear about, and then obviously complaints. So if they're constantly having plans that are held up, maybe there's a reason for that. Maybe they weren't quite informed of what the complete submittal should have looked like. So to measure that, though, I think most town managers, economic development directors, I think they look at the overall picture of, how many permits and applications were submitted and what was the average turnaround time.
Perfect. Well, that's great. Well, we are just seconds away from the end of our allotted time, and I want to be respectful of everybody's time, and thank you for joining today. Thank you, Russ, for downloading so much into us to help give us these 4 steps to faster building plan reviews. I just want to remind everybody, if you have any questions about SAFEbuilt, we are the fastest growing and one of the largest national private partners for community development, especially around building department services, planning and zoning, and code enforcement. Of course, we just touched on just a fraction of one of those things today. Check us out at SAFEbuilt.com. If you have specific questions around plan reviews, how to speed that process up, what options we have available to help you, or if you just want to talk with somebody who's been around the block a few times who can point you in the right direction, and you don't necessarily need somebody to come in and help you, you just want to talk to somebody about a couple of hangups you have, we're happy to have that conversation. We're here to serve. We're here to help. And we just want to get to know you and your community. So go to safebuilt.com/plan review. Go to the bottom. There's a button to contact us, and just enter your question there. If you have follow-ups to today's questions or a question you couldn't ask today, do the same thing. Safebuilt.com/plan review. So thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful day. Thank you, Russ, again. And we'll be in touch with everybody as soon as the recording is available for this, and we'll give you a way to share that recording with others as well. So have a great day.
Yep. Thanks again, everybody.